Back in Dragonflight, players finally helped reclaim Gilneas after more than a decade in ruins. But with Midnight taking us deeper into the Eastern Kingdoms, Gilneas has the chance for more than just a return. It could become one of the most important zones in the expansion. So today, I'm breaking down 5 updates that could completely redefine Gilneas in Midnight, and why this long-lost kingdom might surprise us with how much it has to offer. First up, the most obvious change, the full restoration of Gilneas City. Right now the capital is a shell, locked away and phasing from the Cataclysm Worgen starting zone. But in Midnight, Blizzard could finally turn it into a major Alliance hub. Imagine districts glowing with lantern light, cobbled streets filled with vendors, and new quest hubs spread throughout the city. Each area could be themed, a trade quarter full of Gilnean crafts, a druidic enclave where Worgen experiment with balancing their curse, and even a noble district restored to its old grandeur. One way Blizzard could make this truly feel dynamic is phase progression. At launch, the city might be still partially ruined, with players taking part in reclamation events, clearing out squatters, rebuilding barricades, relighting the lamps. By the end of the expansion, the entire capital could be alive again. It wouldn't just be a backdrop, it would be a living project, and narratively, a rebuilt Gilneas city would be more than nostalgia. It would finally give Worgen players a cultural anchor equal to Stormwind, while expanding the Alliance's reach in the south. And once the city is thriving again, Blizzard could finally dive deeper into what it means to be Worgen. Second, Gilneas gives Blizzard the perfect excuse to expand Worgen lore. For years, Worgen identity has revolved around the curse itself, how it happened, how to control it, how to live with it. But Midnight could push the race into new territory. One angle could be druidism. What happens when you combine the feral rage of the curse with the disciplined shapeshifting of the druids? Could new hybrid forms emerge? Could Worgen learn to master the curse, turning it into a strength instead of a weakness? Another angle could be alchemy. Gilneas has always had a strong background in apothecary science. Some NPCs might attempt to stabilize the curse with potions, while others might go further, experimenting with enhancing the curse, pushing it into terrifying evolutions that blur the line between man, beast, and something even darker. And then there's the cultural divide. Older Gilneans who remember their humanity may resist embracing Worgen identity, while younger generations born into the curse see it as normal. That tension could fuel quests, racial heritage cosmetics, or even branching storylines that let players explore both perspectives. For the first time, Worgen wouldn't just be a race defined by tragedy, they'd be shaping their own destiny. And if Midnight is all about the void spreading across Azeroth, Gilneas could find itself on the front lines, with an epic new dungeon set right in the capital. Third, Gilneas could host a brand new 5-player dungeon. Instead of being just a background questline, this would drop players directly into the heart of a desperate void assault. Picture the streets shrouded in violent mist, while church bells ring through the fog, echoing across a city that feels both alive and under siege. Worgen NPCs would rally in tight alleyways, fighting shoulder to shoulder, with players across twisted horrors, trying to consume their home. The dungeon could take adventures across multiple districts, clearing infected soldiers, protecting pockets of terrified civilians, and sealing off breaches where the void tears through reality. The final stretch could even lead into Greymane Court itself, with a massive void horror attempting to root itself in the throne room and corrupt the very heart of Gilnean leadership. This wouldn't just be another fight for loot. It would tie Gilneas directly to Midnight's core theme of battling back the void, while keeping the unique gothic atmosphere that defines the zone. But Gilneas isn't only about curses and war. It's also about rediscovering its lost identity and heritage. Fourth, Midnight could highlight a full Gilnean culture renaissance. We often think of Gilneas only as a fallen kingdom defined by ruins and curses, but there's so much more to its story. The elegance of its Victorian Gothic architecture, its old hunting traditions, its music and fashion, even the pride of its noble houses. Midnight could give Blizzard the chance to breathe life into those elements again, showing us a kingdom not just surviving, but thriving. This could be represented in-game through festivals and cultural events. Imagine a lantern lighting holiday, where the people of Gilneas symbolically drive back the darkness by filling their foggy streets, with warm golden lights, or seasonal hunting competitions where Worgen showcased their ferocity and skill, not as a curse, but as a celebrated cultural strength. Players could also be rewarded with unique cosmetics tied to this renaissance: flowing Gilnean cloaks, sharp gentleman coats, old world rifles, wolfhound companion pets, or even new Gilnean themed mounts. This would make Gilneas stand apart visually from Stormwind Kultiris, while giving players a reason to connect with its identity beyond combat. There wouldn't just be a surface flavor. It would remind players that Gilneas is more than its past tragedies. It's a culture of resilience, refinement, and pride, ready to step into the future. And once Gilneas reclaims its spirit within its walls, the next natural step is to turn outward, back to the seas that once made it a power. Finally, Gilneas Harbor could return as a fully functioning Alliance naval hub. We actually saw the first hint of this in Dragonflight, when a boat was quietly added to the harbor that sails players directly to the Dragon Isles. That update was small, but it proved that Blizzard is already thinking about reconnecting Gilneas to the wider world. Midnight could take that seed and expand it to something much bigger, transforming the harbor into a true centerpiece of Gilnean life. Imagine docks filled with ships, trade posts bristling with activity, and naval patrols constantly setting out into contested waters. Strategically, this location is priceless. It anchors the Alliance in the southern eastern kingdoms, providing both a defensive stronghold and a springboard for projecting power across the seas. Lore-wise, it would also let Gilneas rebuild ties with Kultiris, bringing together two proud seafaring human nations that were once cornerstones of Alliance naval strength. From a gameplay perspective, the harbor could become a dynamic hub of daily content. Players might help with shipbuilding, patrol sea lanes against pirates or void incursions, escort supply convoys, or even see the harbor evolve visually as new barracks, warehouses, and shipyards are constructed over time. This way, Gilneas Harbor wouldn't just be a nostalgic callback, it would become a living, breathing symbol of the kingdom's resurgence, tying Gilneas directly into the Alliance's long-term story, while giving players practical reasons to return there again and again. So those are the 5 major updates Gilneas could see in Midnight: a rebuilt capital, new Worgen storylines, a void dungeon, a cultural renaissance, and an expanded harbor. Gilneas has always been one of WoW's most atmospheric settings, and now it finally has the chance to become more than a forgotten ruin. Thanks for watching. It's me, Mook.